Hi folks, this is Guru Mayor. Welcome back. If this is your first video with me in this series, we're doing a whole 6-part series called Happy Solutions to Problem Emotions. And this is the 5th of 6. So I hope you'll go back earlier in the series and catch up, because this is a really brief but thorough training to this method, the Senses of the Soul method, by which we can use difficult emotions for real solutions and go from pain to happiness. So today's portion is called You Can Handle It, Emotional Self-Care. So let me review a little bit what we've done so far. The Senses of the Soul method, SOS method, has 4 basic parts. First, when you're feeling badly, no one wants to feel bad, so when you're feeling bad, you stop and allow the emotion to talk to you. And it talks to you through feeling, through sensation. Now, we use techniques to breathe and get clear first, because you want to feel both strong and self-aware, strong and sensitive at the same time. This is what you need to handle strong emotions. So we use a technique to get clear, just some breathing, and then stop and feel. And in the previous sections, we've gone through that with you, and you can review those. Then the next step is to really listen closely, intuitively, and the emotion will tell you, your inner guidance will tell you, what is the problem? Why did that emotion arise? And then you can further ask, well, what do I need to do about it? Literally, you ask your emotion, what is it I need to do so that I can feel better again? And then the fourth is, if you get information, then you act on it. You learn to trust your emotions and respond to them accordingly. And that's the step that we're on today, is taking action. So I want to read to you something that someone shared with me after doing the last video. Hi, Guru Mayor. I did the video from week 3 for the 3rd time now. I am using it whenever I feel a strong emotion or a difficult emotion to bring me insight, clarity, and peace. This is what I hope everyone will do. Following the steps of the video, I learned that some of the depression I felt was in response to my perceptions of someone close to me trying to control my behavior. Now, I don't have time today to explain why depression is so ingenious that way to bring her that information, but we're just starting with the general case of any emotion. But so she stopped, she tuned in, allowed herself to feel the depression, and then it led her to the source. The depression I felt was in response to my perceptions of someone close to me trying to control my behavior. I further learned, she asked some more questions, that the depression was showing me, this is into the solution stage, the depression was showing me that I needed to find my voice and speak up. Most importantly, to be true to myself and to my needs. So she's just done step 1, 2, and 3, and she's got some great solutions. Now we're going to talk about today the need to implement those solutions. Now she goes on. I did not feel much depression at all following this realization. Okay, so a principle of Senses of the Soul is your emotions are strong in order to get your attention. Once you pay attention, they will diminish a little bit. Go back to week 2 and you'll be guided through that step. And the further you go getting the information from them, they back off. They take it easy on you, because they're just sort of like yelling loudly, feeling uncomfortable so that you will pay attention. So she's showing that even though she didn't take action yet, the realization of what she was feeling and why brought her some relief. Now, I can assure you that unless she acts on this information, the emotion is going to return, because the problem has not been solved yet, right? But she goes on. Tonight, so she practiced again, tonight I am feeling a lot of anxiety as opposed to the depression that she shared earlier. I learned through my practice that the anxiety was telling me I love that. That the anxiety was telling me, your emotions talk to you. The anxiety was telling me that I did not have to be a certain way or even a certain person for my mother. I just need to be myself. So this is obviously building on the information that she got before. I just need to be myself. I also don't need to have an immaculate home or prepare extravagant meals. I am tired and I want to just be me. Sounds like her mom has been pushing this on her and she's been resisting, and there's been a lot of history to it. I just need to be me. So the second part gets into a little bit of the action she needs to take. She's going to need to stand up to her mother. She's going to need to learn to be comfortable if she's criticized by her mother. Maybe she doesn't do things the way her mother does, and she's trying to learn to be herself and be comfortable with it. So let's see, she goes on. I am still experiencing some anxiety. So I'm going to now try and go deeper through additional meditation to see if there's anything further I need to learn before I can feel more peaceful. Now, this blows me away because this is my mission, that people can, when feeling bad, use the simple equipment that we all have. We all have the ability to understand what's bothering us and feel better. So I really appreciate you sharing me with this, and this with me rather, and I appreciate any time people give me feedback about their process. Now, so we're going to talk a little bit more about this taking action thing. Life is a journey of learning by comparative study. This hurts, this doesn't. This feels good, this doesn't. And that guides us towards the better feeling. We just naturally want to avoid pain and go towards pleasure. And when that's done consciously, then this is how we learn, through this comparative study of life. She's probably been suffering with this battle with her mom for some time, and the emotions are getting stronger, and now she's actually listening to them and getting some answers. So what I'd like you to do, today we're not going to do a practice per se. The first 4 videos all have a breathing technique that helps you go inside and practice. Today's lesson is more about listening to your inner guidance. So this is what happens next. Some people, and I've heard feedback from hundreds and hundreds of people who've done these practices, and you may find this too, that as soon as you hear something, you doubt it, you question it, because you aren't trained, and you may not in your life have gotten used to listening to your emotions and trusting your intuition. So you have to prove it to yourself little by little. And for her, in this story, for her to break out of this dance with her mom, this pattern, she's going to have to stand up to her mom and say, Mom, this is the way I do it. And that's going to be uncomfortable. And her mom's not going to like it either, because it's changing the dance as it's been known for so long. Now, sometimes when you hear, you're going to reject it. You're going to think, or you're going to say, well, I believe that, but God, I could never do that. I could never stand up to my mom. And this is the hard part, the part that takes courage and conviction. But the amazing thing is, when you hear the voice of your own intuition, the voice of your soul speaking like that, it is so clear and solid and true. You don't doubt it in that moment. Your mind may question it an instant later, or later on the next day you'll go like, well, that sounded good, but there's no way I can do it. I had a beautiful experience with teaching this technique to a group of college students. They were 18, 19, and when I asked for the feedback from the meditation, as this woman has given us today, a young woman said she was suffering under a lot of peer pressure and feeling not pretty and not good about herself, her performance. And this happens to be the emotion called shame. And it's what indicates when we're not really loving ourselves. Anyway, she went into this meditation, and I asked her what happened. she said, I heard that you are beautiful and all you need to do is be you. And I said, well, that's remarkable. That's very enlightened information. And then she said, yes, well, I've heard that. Of course, that's obvious advice, and I've heard that before. But when I heard it from within myself, it was as different as compared to somebody else telling me that. Hearing it from myself was as different from someone else telling me as the truth is to a lie. Like, it had that much more impact that it just felt like the absolute truth. And when someone else tells me, it sounds good, but so that is very typical sort of feeling that people have, that when you're listening to yourself, and this is, it's the truth. You are the best counselor, guide. You know what you need. You don't have to question your own motives as you might with someone else. So this is the future. This is the future of therapy, is self-therapy. The future of guidance is self-guidance. And emotions are a way to bring you this information when you're off the tracks, brings you back onto the tracks. So now, specifically, when you hear a message, there's usually going to be two kinds of messages. One is information, such as our example today was, I heard that my depression was in response to my perception of someone trying to control my behavior. So that's information. But then I further heard the depression was showing me that I need to find my voice and speak up and be true to myself. Now, that's an action that she needs to take. And so when it's information, that's still just hearing something once, even though it seems absolutely true, won't change years of a habitual way of thinking about yourself or something. So even information has to be revisited and embraced and practiced. And if it's an action, that has to be planned and calculated and executed. So without that, the emotion that will have diminished because you've listened will come back until you are taken care of, until you've taken care of yourself. So I hope that makes sense, and that's why next week the part 6 of this series will be practice. So like this woman did, she practiced several times on the same video and then went back the next day when she was feeling something else. Anything of value that you want to learn, you're going to practice it, and that's the same with emotional skills. And so I hope you will review the first 4 parts of this series, and then this one's going to make a lot more sense when you come back to this talk with a lot of experience, and that's what it's all about, experiencing yourself. So please watch the whole series, practice on your own, and next week I'm going to talk more about how to implement a regular practice this way and what it can do for you. And the whole series should be visible to you under Senses of the Soul at YouTube. And come talk to me at sensesofthesoul.com and let me know how you are, because I am dedicated to you feeling better. All right, take care now. Bye-bye.